Rain slicked the streets of Dallas, the kind of relentless drizzle that blurred neon signs into streaks of red and blue, when Emma Chen wiped her greasy hands on a rag and squinted at the vehicle that had just rolled into her small, cluttered auto shop. It was a 1967 Ford Mustang, cherry red but beaten, its chrome dulled by years of wear and neglect. The engine hissed like a wounded animal, steam curling from the radiator in thick, white clouds. Emma's stomach flipped with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Cars like this didn't come around often, and when they did, they weren't usually accompanied by mystery. She glanced at the driver, a shadow behind the tinted glass, still as the night outside. No one got out. No one knocked on the door. The man, or maybe woman, though she doubted it, simply passed a crumpled note through the window. Emma unfolded it, her fingers trembling slightly. In neat, deliberate handwriting were the words, "Fix it, urgent, cash in envelope." No name, no phone number, no license plate record, just those 6 words and an air of authority she couldn't place. Emma stared at the note for a moment, then shrugged and slid open the hood. The engine roared in response, coughing and wheezing like it was alive. As she worked, she noticed something odd. Engraved on the engine block was a serial number, a string of numbers and letters that looked more like military code than anything commercial. Her pulse quickened. She had seen similar engravings before in her father's old Air Force manuals, dusty and forgotten on a shelf in their attic. The memory prickled like static across her skin. She shook it off, telling herself it was probably coincidence. But as she tightened a stubborn bolt, the Mustang's growl seemed to change, becoming deeper, almost sentient. Every turn of her wrench revealed more anomalies, reinforced plates beneath the hood, wiring that didn't match civilian schematics, custom hydraulics that hummed like a latent heartbeat. Emma's curiosity overtook caution. She wiped sweat from her brow and leaned closer, examining a strange, angular panel near the transmission. Her phone buzzed sharply on the counter, slicing through the hum of the engine. She jumped, frowning at the unknown number flashing across the screen. "You need to stop. Do not touch the car. This is bigger than you." Her fingers froze on the wrench. The message was brief, formal, and chilling. Whoever sent it knew exactly who she was and exactly what she was doing. Emma swallowed hard, a knot of adrenaline tightening in her chest. Was this a prank? Or was the warning real? She glanced around the shop, the dim light flickering over racks of oil cans, spare tires, and dusty memorabilia of cars past. For the first time, she felt exposed. Despite the warning, she couldn't stop. Something about the Mustang called to her, demanding her attention. She worked in silence, the rhythmic clanging of tools echoing against the walls, punctuated by the occasional hiss and cough of the engine. Hours passed. Sparks flew, a small fire igniting briefly before she smothered it with a rag. Her hands ached, her back screamed, but she pressed on. And then she saw it, a thin metal plate tucked behind the air filter. Curious, she pried it open, revealing a set of numbers and a small engraving, a discreet insignia she didn't recognize at first. Her heart pounded. It resembled a military emblem she had seen in a documentary once, a black eagle clutching arrows, but it was stylized differently, almost like a secret code. Emma leaned back, wiping grease from her hands onto her jacket, and stared at the emblem. 1,000 questions surged. Why was it here? Who had left it? What mission could require a Mustang in such a secretive capacity? Her mind raced, pulling together fragments from old movies, news reports of classified operations, and her father's stories of Black Ops vehicles. She was so absorbed she didn't hear the soft click of the shop door opening. A shadow fell across the floor, long and angular. Emma froze, wrench halfway to the engine. "Who's there?" she called, trying to keep her voice steady. Silence. Only the ticking of the cooling engine answered her. Heart hammering, she tiptoed toward the counter. Her eyes caught movement in the corner of the room, a figure slipping back into the darkness near the Mustang. It was then she realized that whoever had left the note might still be inside, watching, waiting. Her phone buzzed again. Another message, brief and unnerving. "Do not underestimate what you've touched. Lives are at stake." Emma's stomach dropped. This wasn't just a car. This wasn't just a job. Something bigger, something dangerous had just entered her small auto shop, and somehow she was at the center of it. She took a deep breath and refocused on the engine. The Mustang needed her, and instinctively she knew she couldn't walk away. Every spark from her tools, every turn of her wrench, every hiss of the engine drew her deeper into a web of secrecy she couldn't yet comprehend. The serial numbers, the custom parts, the odd military markings, all were pieces of a puzzle she didn't know she had been chosen to solve. As midnight approached, the rain outside worsened, hammering against the roof and windows. The shop felt smaller, claustrophobic, every shadow amplified. Emma tightened the last bolt she could reach, stepping back to admire the engine's slow transformation from a sputtering mess to something alive, almost menacing in its power. She wiped her hands, satisfied yet uneasy. That's when she noticed it, a thin envelope tucked beneath the Mustang's driver's side seat that hadn't been there before. She crouched, pulling it free. Inside was a photograph, yellowed at the edges, showing a Mustang identical to this one in the middle of a vast desert, dust swirling around it like smoke from a fire. Beneath the photo, a note in crisp handwriting: "Mission failed. Handle with care." Emma's fingers trembled as she held the paper. Who could be on a mission in the middle of nowhere, and why leave their car here? Why trust a stranger with its care? Her mind raced, heart hammering, and a shiver ran down her spine. She felt the weight of unseen eyes, of invisible stakes, of a story far bigger than herself. A sound made her jump, a soft metallic click near the back of the shop. Emma turned slowly, eyes wide, heart pounding. Someone or something was inside. She couldn't see them, couldn't hear them over the pounding rain, but the presence was unmistakable. And as she backed toward the counter, wrench in hand, her mind screamed a single thought: this is only the beginning. Outside, the Mustang's engine purred softly, like it was aware, like it was alive. And then a shadow moved just beyond the rain-streaked glass, watching, waiting, and vanishing before she could identify it. Emma's pulse raced. Whoever had brought the Mustang here, or whoever was still following its trail, wasn't finished. And neither was she. Emma Chen stared at the photo and the note, her mind racing faster than the raindrops streaking the shop windows. The Mustang she had been working on, the one she thought was just another classic car in need of TLC, was connected to something far larger than she could have imagined. Her hands trembled as she held the photograph, her eyes tracing the dust-choked desert in which a nearly identical Mustang sat abandoned. Something about it felt alive, almost sentient, as if it carried memories of an operation no one was meant to survive. Her fingers instinctively went back to the engine. She ran her hands along the reinforced plates and custom wiring. The serial number engraved on the engine block kept gnawing at her mind. She opened her laptop, hopping for some civilian clue, but every search she typed in returned nothing. The serial number didn't exist in any public registry. She felt a shiver creep up her spine. This was military grade, and if her instincts were right, it was top secret. A buzz on her phone snapped her attention back. Another message, this time more urgent. "You need to stop. Do not touch the car. This is bigger than you." Emma's pulse quickened. Whoever sent the message had precision in their warnings, knowledge of her actions. She wondered if they were watching her from the shadows, waiting for a misstep. The rain outside had intensified, hammering against the shop roof, making the sound of raindrops like a relentless countdown. She swallowed hard. She wasn't just repairing a car anymore. She was handling a piece of something that could very well end lives if it fell into the wrong hands. Ignoring the warning, she decided to dive deeper. Pulling gloves from a dusty drawer, she carefully removed panels covering parts of the Mustang's engine and transmission. Every time she uncovered something new, her breath caught. Specialized hydraulics, wiring designed to withstand electromagnetic interference, a small hidden compartment she didn't see at first glance, all revealed meticulous planning. Whoever had designed this vehicle had done it with precision, for a purpose Emma couldn't yet comprehend. And then she noticed it, a faint insignia stamped on the edge of the hidden compartment, almost invisible under the grime. It looked like a bird of prey, talons outstretched, clutching something small, arrows perhaps, but stylized differently than anything she'd seen in history books. It wasn't just military. It felt secret, clandestine, like an organization that operated in shadows. Goosebumps prickled her arms. Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A deep, controlled voice spoke, cold and clipped. "Step away from the vehicle, Ms. Chen. You do not understand what you are handling." Emma froze. "Who is this?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady, hiding the tremor she felt. "Do not ask questions," the voice replied. "This is not a car. It is a tool for a mission. It belongs to someone you do not know. Stop touching it or you will endanger yourself." The line went dead. Emma set the phone down, her hands shaking. She tried to process it. A tool for a mission. Belongs to someone I do not know. The gravity of the situation sank into her bones. Every instinct screamed that she should close the hood and leave the Mustang alone, but curiosity, her driving force since childhood, wouldn't let her stop. Hours passed. She worked carefully, meticulously, documenting everything she discovered. The hidden compartment contained a folded, waterproof map marked with coordinates. There was also a small, encrypted USB drive tucked inside. She held it up to the light, unsure if she should plug it into her laptop. Something inside her warned her against it, but curiosity and adrenaline pushed her forward. With a deep breath, she connected the drive, and a folder appeared. Labeled in a code she didn't understand, but the timestamp was recent, just days old. The Mustang growled softly under her hands, as if aware of her actions. Emma's eyes darted around the shop. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every shadow seemed darker than it should be. Every reflection in the chrome of her tools seemed to twist and move. She realized with a chill that this vehicle wasn't just a machine. It was a silent witness to events she could barely imagine. She leaned against the workbench, heart pounding, trying to make sense of it. Who would leave a Mustang like this in a small Dallas auto shop? And why her? She hadn't advertised herself as someone capable of dealing with high-end military-grade modifications. She was just Emma, a mechanic who loved cars and had a knack for solving mechanical puzzles. Somehow, that was enough. Or maybe it had been exactly what the mysterious owner wanted. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. "If you value your life, stop now, they are coming." Emma froze. She glanced toward the front door, toward the dimly lit street outside. Black SUVs weren't part of her neighborhood, and the thought that someone could be circling her shop made her stomach tighten. She was alone, unarmed, in a space she knew better than anyone else, facing forces she could only imagine. And then a sound, a subtle metallic click came from behind her. She whipped around, wrench in hand. Nothing. Just the Mustang still purring, its engine sounding almost like a growl. Emma's breath came in short bursts. The rain intensified outside, thrumming on the roof like a drumbeat counting down to something. She realized that whatever she was touching, whatever she was repairing, it was not just a car. It was part of a bigger mission, and she had no idea the stakes. Minutes passed. She finally forced herself to breathe and returned to the engine, working carefully to finish her initial repairs. She double-checked everything: spark plugs, wiring, hydraulics, fuel lines. Every piece had to be perfect. Every adjustment mattered. Her mind was alert, every sense heightened. Somewhere beyond the walls of her shop, unseen eyes were watching. She could feel it. She opened the glove compartment one last time, thinking she was finished, and her eyes fell on a thin envelope she hadn't seen before. She pulled it out with a mix of curiosity and dread. Inside was another note, handwritten: "Trust no one. Destination unknown." Emma froze. Her pulse accelerated. Whoever left these messages wasn't joking. She realized she wasn't dealing with a simple repair job. She was involved in something bigger than she had ever imagined, something dangerous, secret, and possibly deadly. A shadow flickered across the window. Emma turned sharply, wrench in hand, but no one was there. The Mustang growled almost impatiently, as if aware of the tension in the room. The rain outside slashed at the glass, obscuring the street. She felt the weight of the moment, a young mechanic alone in a shop, holding the key to a mystery that might involve life and death, global stakes, and forces far beyond her understanding. Emma stepped back, taking a deep breath. One thought anchored her: she had already started. She couldn't stop now, not without knowing the truth. And as she wiped her hands on her jacket and stared at the Mustang, she couldn't shake the feeling that the next move would change everything, and that danger was closer than she could possibly imagine. Outside in the stormy night, headlights flickered in the distance just beyond the shop. Someone or something was coming. And Emma knew, with a sinking certainty, that her life was about to spiral into a world she had never asked to enter. The storm outside showed no sign of letting up. Rain hammered the roof of Emma Chen's small auto shop, drumming an urgent rhythm that mirrored the pounding of her heart. The Mustang sat in the center of the shop like a predatory animal, its engine softly growling as she crouched in front of it. Emma's hands were coated in grease and grime, muscles aching from hours of meticulous work, but she couldn't stop. Every panel she removed, every wire she traced, every stubborn bolt she tightened brought her closer to uncovering the secrets hidden within this seemingly ordinary car. Her mind raced with questions. Who had entrusted her with this vehicle? And why her? 1,000 possibilities ran through her head: federal agents, rogue operatives, military contractors. She had only repaired cars before. Never had she felt so acutely the weight of responsibility, the sense that a single misstep could cost lives. She wiped sweat from her forehead and examined the Mustang's reinforced engine block again. The serial numbers were unlike anything she had ever seen, etched into the metal with an almost obsessive precision. She cross-referenced the numbers with her father's old Air Force manuals and found a chilling match. They were part of a military-grade vehicle registry, one used for covert missions. Her stomach churned. Somehow, she had stumbled into a world she barely understood. Emma's wrench clicked as she tightened a final bolt on the hydraulic system. She stepped back, examining her work. The engine hummed smoothly now, almost purring, alive with a power that seemed far beyond a normal Mustang. She took a deep breath and wiped her hands on a rag, her gaze drifting to the glove compartment. The thin envelope she had found earlier still sat there, its edges curling slightly from the humidity. She reached for it, her fingers trembling. Inside was another note. Do not underestimate what you hold. It is not a vehicle, it is a survival tool. The words sent a shiver down her spine. Survival tool. This was no ordinary car. She had repaired it, yes, but the implication was clear. Whoever had designed this Mustang had intended it to do more than transport someone from point A to point B. Her curiosity won over fear. She pulled out the USB drive she had found the night before and connected it to her laptop. A folder appeared, encrypted but accessible through a password she didn't recognize. She stared at the screen, considering her next move. Should she try to access it? Could she risk it? The Mustang seemed to hum impatiently, as if sensing her hesitation. Her instincts, finely honed from years of working with machines, told her the drive held crucial information: coordinates, perhaps, or schematics, or instructions for a mission she could not yet comprehend. Her phone buzzed again. She glanced down, an unknown number. The message read, "Do not open it. Lives are at stake." Emma's pulse quickened. The warning was unmistakable, but the urge to know, to understand, to solve the puzzle was stronger. With a deep breath, she opened the folder. Inside were files labeled in a way that suggested military encryption, documents she could not immediately decipher, and images of the Mustang in locations she did not recognize. Deserts, mountain ranges, abandoned airstrips. The dates were recent, too recent. She sat back, eyes wide. Whoever had left this Mustang and these files was actively involved in operations she couldn't even imagine. And now she was involved too. Hours passed as Emma worked through the documents, cross-referencing the locations and dates, trying to make sense of the scattered clues. Her shop, cluttered with tools, oil cans, and car parts, seemed to fade into the background. All that mattered was the Mustang and the secrets it held. A sudden noise made her jump, a soft metallic click from the back of the shop. She spun around, wrench in hand. Nothing. Just shadows stretching across the walls, distorted by the flickering overhead lights. Emma's pulse pounded in her ears. She realized she wasn't alone. Someone or something was in the shop with her. She moved cautiously toward the rear, every step deliberate. Her eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. The Mustang sat silently, its engine now almost still, like a predator lying in wait. She reached the workbench and picked up a small flashlight, sweeping the beam across the room. There, behind a stack of tires, a faint movement. Emma held her breath, wrench raised. The shadow didn't move again, but the hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. Her phone buzzed, piercing the tense silence. Another message. They know you have it. Leave now or risk everything. Emma's stomach dropped. Who were they? And how much danger had she really stepped into by touching this Mustang? The warnings were no longer abstract. They were immediate, pressing, undeniable. Her gaze returned to the Mustang. The engine, now quiet, seemed almost aware of the tension, its chrome edges gleaming under the dim light. She approached it cautiously, noticing a faint humming from beneath the hood. Something had shifted while she was distracted, a hidden compartment now slightly ajar, as if the car itself was communicating, directing her attention. Emma knelt and opened the compartment, revealing a small metal case she hadn't seen before. Her fingers trembled as she lifted it out. The case was heavy, cold, and stamped with a military insignia she couldn't place. Inside were documents, encrypted drives, and a set of keys, clearly meant for something far more than just a car. She held the contents in her hands, understanding dawning slowly, terrifyingly. This Mustang was a vessel, a tool, and she had unwittingly become its custodian. Whoever had left it here trusted her, or was testing her. Either way, there was no turning back. The sound of tires on wet pavement outside made her freeze. Emma's head snapped toward the window. Headlights cut through the rain, approaching the shop. Black SUVs, heavy and official-looking, rolled past the front door and disappeared into the storm. She exhaled slowly, realizing she had been seen, perhaps tracked. Her phone buzzed again. This time no message, just a call. A deep, measured voice spoke. "Step away from the vehicle. Do not move. This is no longer a game. You are in the middle of something you cannot control." Emma's hands shook. She glanced around the shop. The storm outside was relentless. The shadows in the corners seemed alive, and the Mustang, the machine she had just repaired, seemed more than a car. It seemed a silent witness to secrets and dangers far beyond her understanding. And then a sound made her heart stop. The engine of the Mustang roared to life on its own, unexpectedly, as if responding to the warnings and threats surrounding it. The vibration ran through the floor, through her bones, a reminder that this was no ordinary vehicle. Emma backed away, wrench still in hand. Her mind raced. The Mustang, the documents, the hidden drives, everything pointed to a world she had never imagined, a world where life and death decisions were hidden in gears, metal, and encrypted files. She realized then, with a sinking certainty, that repairing the Mustang was only the beginning. She was now a part of something dangerous, secret, and urgent, and there was no telling how far it would reach or how much it would cost her. Outside in the storm, headlights flickered again, just beyond the shop. Emma knew the next moments would define whether she survived this night, or became a casualty in a game she didn't even know she was playing. And as the Mustang idled, low and menacing, she understood one truth. The night was far from over, and the danger was far closer than she had ever imagined. The rain had slowed to a steady drizzle, but the night air felt thick, suffocating, as Emma Chen crouched behind the workbench, wrench clutched in white-knuckled hands. Her small Dallas auto shop, usually her sanctuary, now felt like a cage. Every shadow seemed alive, every flicker of light across the wet floor a signal that someone, or something, was watching. Her mind raced. The Mustang sat in the center of the shop, its engine idling softly, humming like a creature aware of the tension around it. The hidden compartment she had discovered, with its encrypted drives, military documents and mysterious keys, was now a tangible reminder that her ordinary life had evaporated in a single night. She had unknowingly stepped into a world where secrets were dangerous and curiosity could be lethal. A sudden noise shattered the tense silence, a low metallic click near the front of the shop. Emma spun around, wrench raised, muscles coiled for action. The shadow that had moved earlier at the back of the shop was now closer. She squinted through the dim light, but the darkness swallowed every detail. Her phone buzzed urgently. A message flashed, "Step away, you cannot win against them." Emma's pulse skyrocketed. "Them?" she whispered to herself, her breath catching. The warning wasn't vague, it was personal, targeted, and immediate. She glanced at the Mustang. The car was no longer just a vehicle. It was a focal point for forces she didn't understand. She had repaired it, yes, but she had also activated something she couldn't yet see, like touching a live wire connected to a far-reaching network she had no hope of controlling. Suddenly, the shop's front door rattled violently. Emma ducked instinctively, wrench in hand, heart hammering against her ribs. The metallic click she had heard before returned, louder this time, echoing across the cluttered room. Her eyes darted to the darkened corners, searching for movement. Then a voice, cold and clipped, came from the shadows. "Step away from the Mustang, Ms. Chen." Emma froze. The voice wasn't human, or at least it wasn't casual. There was no warmth, no hesitation. Only authority, precision, and the subtle threat of force. Her stomach churned. The Mustang, her once ordinary project, was now a nexus of danger. The door burst open suddenly. Heavy black SUVs lined the street outside, their headlights cutting through the haze of drizzle. Soldiers in dark uniforms poured out, scanning the area like predators. Emma realized with a jolt that she had been seen, tracked. She was not alone, not safe, and not prepared for the scale of what she had stumbled into. Her phone rang, the deep, measured voice returning. "Do not move. Leave the vehicle. You are in possession of sensitive material. Compliance is your only chance." Emma's hands shook. She glanced toward the Mustang. Its engine growled softly, almost impatiently, as if it knew the gravity of the moment. The car was alive in a way she had never experienced. Its presence alone exuded authority and purpose. With a racing mind, she assessed her options. Step outside and comply, or hide and risk confrontation. The shop, cluttered and dim, offered minimal protection. She could barricade herself, but how long would that last against trained operatives? The soldiers advanced, and one of them, a tall man with a dark visor obscuring his eyes, stepped into the doorway. He raised a hand. "Ms. Chen, you are risking your life by touching that vehicle. Surrender all items immediately." Emma's stomach twisted. She knew surrendering could be dangerous, but so could staying put. One wrong move, one misstep, and she could be caught in the crossfire of forces she barely understood. She took a deep breath, her instincts sharpening, her mind moving faster than her heart. Her gaze drifted back to the Mustang. The engine's growl seemed to respond to her thoughts, a subtle vibration through the floor that spoke almost like a warning. She realized that the car was more than a machine. It was an ally in a strange, mechanical way. The tall soldier approached, his boots clicking against the wet concrete. "Step away from the Mustang," he repeated, his voice more insistent, edged with authority that brooked no argument. Emma weighed her options: fight, flee, surrender. Every scenario ended in uncertainty. Then she noticed a small compartment in the Mustang's dashboard, slightly ajar. Inside, the encrypted drives and documents were visible. They were the key, the reason all these operatives were here. If she moved now, she could lose control of them forever. Her decision made, she took a cautious step toward the vehicle, hands raised but steady. "I'm not leaving without securing these," she said, her voice firm despite the adrenaline flooding her system. The soldier's visor reflected the Mustang's chrome in the dim light. For a moment, time seemed to stretch, the rain drumming, the engine purring, the shadows shifting. Then he spoke, voice clipped but with a note of tension. "You have no idea what you're holding, Ms. Chen. This vehicle belongs to a man on a classified mission overseas. Any interference could cost lives." Emma's breath caught. The words confirmed her worst fears. She hadn't just repaired a car, she had unknowingly handled equipment critical to a top-secret military operation. The stakes were no longer abstract, they were immediate, tangible, lethal. Before she could respond, another figure appeared at the doorway, silhouetted against the flood of headlights. Emma squinted, heart hammering. This one was different. The presence was unmistakable, someone with authority, someone who commanded respect and fear. The rain slashed across the shop windows as the figure stepped forward, voice calm but forceful. "Ms. Chen, step back and do not touch anything further. You have been unwittingly involved in a situation that exceeds your understanding. Compliance is essential for your safety." Emma's mind spun. Who were these people? A rogue military faction, secret government agents, or something even more dangerous? She realized she was not merely a witness to events unfolding. She had become an active participant in a deadly game of secrets and power. The Mustang's engine roared suddenly, startling her and the soldiers alike. It was as if the car itself was asserting its presence, responding to the tension, demanding attention. Emma froze, sensing a strange alignment between herself and the machine she had repaired. A flash of movement outside caught her eye, another figure, half hidden in the shadows, approaching with alarming speed. Emma's heart raced. The situation had escalated beyond containment. Whoever this was, they were not here to negotiate. The soldier nearest her barked an order, and Emma felt the weight of imminent confrontation pressing down. She gripped the Mustang's door handle, her pulse racing, aware that every second now counted. One wrong move, and she could trigger a chain of events she couldn't control. And then from the shadows, a voice she did not recognize spoke softly but unmistakably. "Ms. Chen, trust no one." Her stomach dropped. The words echoed in her mind. The Mustang, the encrypted drives, the soldiers, the shadowy figure outside, everything was connected, but nothing was clear. She realized with chilling clarity that the night was far from over, and danger was closer than she had ever imagined. Emma exhaled slowly, summoning courage she didn't know she had. She was no longer just a mechanic in a small Dallas shop. She was now a player in a game she barely understood, and the next move, her move, could change everything. Outside, the rain continued to lash the streets, headlights flickering in and out, shadows moving unpredictably. The Mustang idled, low and menacing, as if anticipating the events to come. Emma knew with an unshakable certainty that the first real threat had arrived, and survival for her and the secrets she now guarded was far from guaranteed. Dawn had not yet broken when Emma Chen finally exhaled, her body trembling from adrenaline and sleepless hours. The rain had stopped, leaving a damp, misty morning in its wake. The Mustang sat in the middle of her shop, gleaming under the flickering fluorescent lights, like a predator waiting patiently for its next move. Emma's hands were streaked with grease, her uniform smeared with oil and grime, yet her eyes burned with a mixture of fear and determination. The door swung open quietly and she flinched, wrench still in hand. But it wasn't a shadowy operative or another black SUV waiting to ambush her. It was a man in full army uniform. His posture was straight, disciplined, and his eyes were sharp, scanning the shop with calculated precision. He moved toward her with the calm authority of someone accustomed to command. "Ms. Chen," he said, voice steady but urgent. "I'm Captain Alex Donovan. You don't know it yet, but that Mustang belonged to me." Emma's jaw dropped. The name sounded familiar, like one she had heard in passing on news segments, reports of clandestine military operations overseas. Her mind raced. Captain Alex Donovan, the man in those photographs, the one associated with special missions. He continued, his eyes never leaving hers. I was on a classified mission overseas. The vehicle you repaired, it kept me alive. Emma swallowed hard, her stomach twisting. I fixed your car, and I didn't even know who it belonged to. Donovan nodded, a faint grim smile crossing his face. That's why the Army needs answers. We tracked the Mustang to your shop. You unknowingly became part of an operation that could have had serious consequences. Lives were at stake, and now, his voice dropped to a low, tense whisper, so is yours. Emma's pulse quickened. The reality of her situation settled over her like a heavy fog. She had stumbled into something far larger than herself, something that involved military secrets, covert operations, and now, potentially, her own survival. Donovan stepped closer, glancing at the Mustang. This car isn't just a vehicle, he explained. It's equipped with technology and modifications that are classified at the highest level. Every component, every reinforcement, every hidden compartment serves a purpose. If it falls into the wrong hands, his voice trailed off, but the implication was clear. Emma's mind reeled. She had thought she was merely repairing a car. Instead, she had touched a piece of a mission so secret that even the Army had mobilized to retrieve it. She realized, with a sinking sense of awe and terror, that the Mustang had been more than a machine. It had been a lifeline, a guardian, and now, a target. Before she could respond, Donovan pulled a small folder from his uniform. Inside were documents detailing a covert mission, locations, intelligence briefings, and classified codes. He spread the papers across her workbench. Emma's eyes widened as she scanned the contents. Each page revealed operations she had only seen in documentaries, missions that required precision, skill, and nerves of steel, and at the heart of it all was the Mustang she had just repaired. This car, Donovan said, voice low and serious, was part of an extraction operation. I was ambushed, isolated in a hostile area, and this vehicle was the only asset that ensured I survived long enough to regroup. You repaired it. You ensured that the next stage of the mission could proceed. Emma felt a shiver run down her spine. She had never considered herself a hero, just a mechanic who loved solving problems. Yet here she was, her ordinary skills inadvertently linked to extraordinary circumstances. Why me? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. Why bring it here? Donovan's eyes met hers, piercing and steady. Because, Ms. Chen, someone trusted you. They believed that you could handle what most would not even recognize. You have a skill, a precision, and an intuition that, well, you have proven it. But now the situation has escalated. The Army needs you to provide a full account of everything you discovered, the modifications, the hidden compartments, everything. Emma's stomach churned. She had always worked alone, solving mechanical puzzles without interference. Now her actions had drawn her into a web of secrecy and danger she couldn't have imagined. The thought of being questioned by the military, of having her life dissected under scrutiny, was terrifying. Yet at the same time, the reality of what she had done, the fact that she had saved a classified mission without even knowing it, filled her with a strange sense of pride. Donovan's gaze shifted toward the Mustang. We need to secure the vehicle immediately. It contains information and technology that, if compromised, could jeopardize national security. You are not supposed to have access to it. And yet, his voice softened slightly, almost imperceptibly. You handled it with care and skill. Emma swallowed hard, nodding. I didn't know, she murmured. I just saw a car that needed fixing. Donovan's expression hardened again. And that's why you are here now. The Army needs a full report. We need to understand what you discovered, what you repaired, and what modifications were affected. Lives depend on it. And there are those who will go to extreme lengths to retrieve this vehicle if it's compromised. Emma's pulse quickened. The weight of her actions was overwhelming. She had touched a piece of technology that could determine life or death for people she would never meet, and she had no idea how deep the conspiracy went, how far the danger extended. Then Donovan leaned closer, lowering his voice even further. "Ms. Chen, someone is already looking for this car. We tracked it here. You have drawn attention. You are no longer just a mechanic in Dallas. You are now part of this operation. And trust me, some of the people coming after it won't care about your safety." Emma felt her knees weaken. Her shop, her sanctuary, her ordinary life, all of it had vanished in a single night. She stared at the Mustang gleaming under the morning light, realizing that it was more than a machine. It was a symbol of survival, secrecy, and danger, and now it was a burden she had to bear. Donovan stepped back, his eyes scanning the shop one last time. "The vehicle is secure for now, but we need to move quickly. The army will debrief you, and you will need to provide every detail of what you did, what you saw, and what you discovered. If anything is left out," his voice trailed, heavy with implication, "we cannot guarantee your safety." Emma's heart raced. She had never faced danger like this. She had repaired a car, touched a mission she didn't understand, and now the army demanded answers that she could barely comprehend. The enormity of the situation pressed down on her, heavy and unrelenting. For a moment, silence filled the shop. Only the Mustang's engine hummed softly, like a living reminder of the events that had unfolded. Emma realized with a mixture of fear and awe that her life had irrevocably changed. She was no longer an ordinary mechanic. She was now a participant in something far larger than herself, a secret mission, a classified operation, and a web of danger that had only begun to reveal itself. And as she looked at Donovan, standing there with the weight of the military on his shoulders, she knew one truth. The army had arrived. The Mustang was safe for now, but the questions and the danger were far from over. Emma took a deep breath, preparing herself for what was to come. The truth had been revealed, but the mission, the secrets, and the stakes were only beginning to surface. Outside, the city woke slowly, unaware of the drama that had unfolded in a small auto shop in Dallas. And inside, Emma Chen realized that her life had changed forever, and there was no turning back. The streets of Dallas were wet and gleaming in the early morning light, but Emma Chen barely noticed. Her hands still shook from adrenaline, her heart racing in ways she hadn't thought possible. She was strapped into the Mustang, seatbelt tight, hands gripping the steering wheel like a lifeline. Beside her, Captain Alex Donovan's eyes were sharp, scanning the streets with the precision of someone who had survived far more dangerous situations than this small city had ever presented. The Mustang purred beneath her, alive and ready, every modification humming like it knew its role in the mission. Emma's knuckles whitened as she shifted gears, the engine responding to her touch with the kind of power she had never felt behind any ordinary wheel. This wasn't just a car. It was a weapon, a survival tool, and a lifeline all in one. Donovan leaned close. "They know it's out," he said in a low, urgent tone. "Rogue elements have tracked the Mustang. Intercept immediately." Emma swallowed hard. Rogue elements. She had no idea how many were out there, what their skills were, or what lengths they would go to retrieve the vehicle. The Mustang had been designed for missions far beyond her ordinary mechanic life, and now she was driving it through a web of unseen threats. They exited the shop, the Mustang slicing through the misty streets with a growl that demanded attention. Emma kept her eyes on the road, her mind racing. Every intersection, every turn could bring another danger. Black SUVs appeared in her peripheral vision, following at a distance, their intentions unmistakable. Donovan pointed to a side street. "Take this, we need to lose them." Emma obeyed, swerving sharply. The Mustang hugged the curves of the street like it was alive, its custom suspension and reinforced frame giving her confidence she barely felt. Yet with every maneuver her pulse climbed, every sense alert to potential ambushes. She had never been a driver in a chase like this. Now, every skill she had relied on instinct, intuition, and the car's capabilities. As they maneuvered through a labyrinth of alleys and back roads, Donovan explained the stakes. The Mustang isn't just transportation. It carries encrypted drives, sensitive intelligence, mission-critical data. If it's intercepted, compromised, or damaged, countless lives are at risk. The people after us, they won't hesitate. They won't warn you. They won't care if you survive. Emma's stomach churned. She realized that the casual repairs she had done, the hours she had spent tightening bolts and tracing wiring, had now put her directly in the path of danger. And the thought that her life, her very survival, was entangled with the Mustang's fate pressed down like a physical weight. Suddenly, their rearview mirrors caught movement, two black SUVs closing in fast, cutting off streets, predicting their turns with terrifying accuracy. Emma's breath hitched. "They know us," she whispered. Donovan's jaw tightened. "They've been tracking the Mustang for months. Whoever these people are, they've studied every possible route. We can't outrun them forever, but we can buy time." Emma shifted gears, pushing the Mustang to its limits. The car roared, tires spraying water in arcs across the wet asphalt. The city seemed to blur around them, the streetlights and signs streaking into neon smears. Every turn was a calculated risk, every acceleration a gamble. Then a flash of movement, a figure darting across the street ahead. Emma slammed on the brakes, the Mustang skidding slightly but regaining control with ease. Donovan's hand shot out, gripping the dashboard. "Ambush!" he shouted. The figure disappeared into the shadows, but the warning had been clear. The people pursuing them weren't just after a car, they were hunting the intelligence it carried. Emma's heart pounded harder. She had repaired the Mustang, and now it was her survival that depended on understanding it, trusting it, and pushing it to limits she had never imagined. They turned onto a narrow industrial road, dodging construction equipment and puddles of water, using every bit of cover available. Donovan directed her expertly, his calm in the chaos a steady anchor. "Left here, then a hard right. Follow the GPS coordinates." Emma obeyed, nodding the Mustang's responsiveness. The custom modifications she had repaired, reinforced brakes, advanced suspension, enhanced engine output, were performing flawlessly. Every improvement she had made, every bolt she had tightened was now a lifeline. A sudden radio crackle made her flinch. Donovan's voice came through. "Heads up, they've deployed drones, expect aerial tracking." Emma's stomach dropped. Drones. The Mustang's modifications included electromagnetic shielding, but she wasn't sure how effective it would be against multiple aerial units. She had never considered that repairing a car could lead to real-life combat scenarios. "Hold on," Donovan said, gripping the dashboard. "This next maneuver is risky, but it's our only shot to shake them." He pointed to a narrow gap between two warehouses. "The Mustang can handle it. Trust it and trust yourself." Emma swallowed her fear and accelerated. The Mustang leapt forward, tires gripping the wet asphalt perfectly. She felt the power beneath her hands, the engine growling with anticipation, responding to her every command. She had never felt such synergy between a driver and a machine. For a moment, she felt invincible. Behind them, the SUVs struggled to match their speed, their pursuit constrained by the narrow urban layout. Emma's heart leapt with cautious optimism, but Donovan's expression remained tense. He knew better than to celebrate early. Then a sharp flash of light from above caught her eye. Drones, just as Donovan had warned. They hovered, scanning with precision, cameras and sensors tracking their every move. Emma realized the danger was escalating faster than she could react. Donovan leaned close. "The Mustang has countermeasures. Use the electromagnetic pulse feature. It will disable surveillance temporarily. I'll guide you." Emma's fingers trembled over the controls. She activated the system. A soft hum vibrated through the car and she saw the drones flicker, cameras scrambling, electronics failing for a brief moment. It was enough. "Now hard left," Donovan shouted. Emma swerved, tires squealing, the Mustang hugging the corner flawlessly. For a moment, adrenaline and fear merged into a singular focus: survival. As they sped through the industrial district, Emma couldn't shake the realization. She had not only repaired a car, she had become part of a mission that was unfolding in real time. Every modification, every hidden compartment, every encrypted drive was now a lifeline, and she was the guardian. The city blurred past, the pursuit relentless but momentarily thwarted. Emma exhaled, her muscles aching but her mind sharpened. She had survived the first wave, but Donovan's voice, calm yet urgent, reminded her that this was only the beginning. "They're regrouping," he said, "and they'll come at us harder, faster. We're not safe yet, not until the Mustang and its secrets are secured." Emma's heart pounded. She realized fully and terrifyingly that she had no choice but to trust the car, trust Donovan, and trust herself. The chase was far from over, and the danger lurking behind every turn, every shadow, every curve in the road was very real. As the Mustang roared toward the next checkpoint, Emma understood the truth. This was not a mere repair job anymore. It was a race against time, against forces she barely understood, in a world where a single mistake could mean the end. And in the back of her mind, a chilling thought persisted. Someone was watching every move, and they would not stop until they got what they wanted. The Mustang roared through the winding industrial streets, its engine growling like a beast aware of the hunt closing in behind it. Emma Chen gripped the wheel tighter, sweat mixing with the rain still clinging to her hair, and stole quick glances at Captain Alex Donovan beside her. His eyes were sharp, constantly scanning every alley, every shadow, every flicker of movement. "Emma," he said urgently, voice low but commanding, "they're not just after the Mustang. They're after the intelligence it carries, and someone inside our own ranks may have tipped them off." Emma's stomach turned. Betrayal, here, now. She had trusted Donovan and the brief interaction with the army. She hadn't expected the danger to come from within. Her pulse jumped, fear and disbelief intertwining. Before she could respond, her phone buzzed, a notification flashing across the screen. She hesitated, knowing it could be a trap, but curiosity gnawed at her. She opened the message. "You are not alone. Watch your back." Her breath caught. Someone knew her every move, watching her even now. The Mustang's hum beneath her hands felt alive, protective, almost sentient, yet she realized that no car, no matter how advanced, could fully shield her from betrayal in flesh and blood. Donovan spoke again, eyes narrowing. "We need to reach the safe house. Coordinates are encrypted and we cannot be intercepted again. You need to trust the car and me." Emma nodded, hands steadying on the wheel. She could feel the Mustang's raw power beneath her, every reinforced suspension, every upgraded braking system responding to her touch. This wasn't just a drive, it was a lifeline, and she had become its driver, its guardian, its survivalist partner. The safe house wasn't far, but danger was relentless. Another SUV appeared in the distance, headlights cutting through the misty streets. Emma's pulse quickened. Donovan's fingers flew over the dashboard controls, adjusting the Mustang's hidden features: a turbo boost, an EMP pulse, and a reinforced defensive mode. "They're closing in," Donovan said sharply. "We need a diversion." Emma hesitated, then pushed the Mustang to the limit. The tires screamed across wet asphalt, leaving water in arcs behind them. The EMP pulse activated, drones above them flickering as electronics shorted. It was enough to temporarily disrupt the enemy's tracking. But just as she exhaled, the Mustang jolted violently. From the side mirror, she glimpsed a black SUV attempting a ram maneuver. Her stomach plummeted. "They're trying to force us off the road," she shouted. Donovan grabbed her shoulder, steadying her. "Brace yourself. I've got a maneuver, but it will take precision." Emma's hands tightened on the wheel as Donovan guided her through a sharp zigzag, narrowly avoiding a collision. Sparks flew as the SUV clipped the curb, sending debris scattering into the street. Emma's heart pounded, but the Mustang's modifications performed flawlessly, reinforced chassis and adaptive suspension absorbing the impact, keeping them on course. Breathing heavily, Emma glanced at Donovan. How is it possible they're this precise? We've barely slowed them down." Donovan's jaw tightened. They know the Mustang's specifications. Someone told them everything, and now I fear it's someone inside the army who shouldn't be trusted. Emma's mind spun. Betrayal, pursuit, danger at every turn. She had never imagined her ordinary life could transform into a labyrinth of threats, each step more perilous than the last. She realized that her instincts as a mechanic, her precision, attention to detail, and problem-solving skills had suddenly become tools for survival. Suddenly, the Mustang's dashboard lit up with a warning, "Unauthorized access detected." Emma's eyes widened. Donovan's expression hardened. They've hacked into the vehicle's network. It's not just pursuit anymore, it's sabotage. Emma's stomach knotted. Every modification she had repaired, every system she had tested, was now being exploited against her. The Mustang, her protector and lifeline, was under threat from an invisible enemy, and betrayal loomed closer than ever. "Options?" Emma asked, voice trembling but steady. Donovan's gaze hardened. "We improvise. The Mustang can override external access, but only for a limited window. You drive. I'll handle the override, but we can't fail." Emma's fingers danced over the controls, pushing the Mustang through the slick streets, weaving through industrial barriers, narrow alleys, and puddles that threatened to throw them off course. Sparks from a misaligned fence brushed the tires, but the reinforced frame held firm. Donovan's hands flew over the dashboard, tapping sequences she barely recognized. The Mustang responded, systems rebooting under his guidance. For a brief, heart-stopping moment, they were free, momentarily. But betrayal has a habit of revealing itself at the worst possible moment. From the shadows, a familiar figure emerged, a military liaison she had met earlier, someone she had thought was helping secure the Mustang. The man's expression was calm, too calm, a faint smirk playing across his face. Emma's stomach dropped. "It's him," she whispered. Donovan's eyes narrowed. "I suspected as much. He's been feeding them intel from the start. We're in more danger than ever." The Mustang's engine roared as Emma floored it, accelerating through the narrow streets. Behind them, the black SUVs responded with lethal precision, drones above recalibrating to track them. Every second felt like an eternity, every turn a gamble, every shadow a potential threat. Emma's hands trembled, but she focused. She had repaired this car, she knew it intimately. Every hidden compartment, every reinforced system, every secret modification was her advantage now. She was the Mustang's guardian, and it was hers. Suddenly, the traitor attempted a direct intercept, pulling his vehicle into their lane, forcing a collision. Emma's heart leapt into her throat. With precision and instinct, she swerved, narrowly avoiding the impact. Sparks flew as metal screeched against metal. The Mustang's reinforced chassis held, but the moment left Emma breathless, the reality of betrayal cutting deeper than the pursuit itself. Donovan leaned closer. "We have one more chance to reach a secure location. There's a hidden facility outside the city. Once we're there, we can stabilize the situation and secure the Mustang and its contents. Are you ready?" Emma nodded, fear and determination coalescing into fierce focus. "Let's go." The Mustang accelerated, tires biting into wet asphalt, engine growling as if fueled by Emma's resolve. They navigated through industrial barriers, abandoned streets, and hidden tunnels, a path only someone familiar with both the city and the Mustang's capabilities could manage. Behind them, the trader's SUV struggled to maintain pace, drones faltering from the Mustang's countermeasures. Emma realized, for the first time, the true power of her repair work. Every bolt she had tightened, every modification she had restored, was now saving their lives in real time. But even as the safe facility loomed on the horizon, Emma knew betrayal was never far behind. The traitor had knowledge, influence, and deadly intent. The Mustang was fast, durable, and intelligent, but so were the people hunting it. As they rounded the final corner, the facility came into view, hidden beneath the cover of an abandoned warehouse, reinforced gates and security cameras scanning the perimeter. Donovan exhaled sharply. "We're not out yet, but this is our chance." Emma's heart pounded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She realized that the night's chaos, the chase, the betrayal, and the life-or-death stakes had transformed her. She was no longer just a mechanic. She was the Mustang's guardian, a participant in a mission she could barely comprehend, and a survivor navigating a labyrinth of deception and danger. And as the facility gates opened, welcoming them into a temporary sanctuary, Emma knew one terrifying truth: betrayal was only the beginning. The final battle and the true test of survival was still to come. The hidden facility hummed with quiet intensity as the Mustang rolled to a stop inside the reinforced garage. Emma Chen's hands were still shaking, her heart hammering as adrenaline slowly ebbed, leaving a raw, tense energy in its wake. For the first time that night, she allowed herself a glance around the dimly lit room. The facility was secure, monitored by cameras, sensors, and reinforced gates designed to keep out the world and anyone with malicious intent. Beside her, Captain Alex Donovan exhaled, his eyes still sharp, scanning every corner, every shadow, as though danger could manifest even here. He stepped from the Mustang and looked back at her. "We're not safe yet. The traitor knows our location now, and they won't hesitate to come in, no matter the defenses." Emma's stomach tightened. She had fought through pursuit, sabotage, and betrayal to reach this point. Every maneuver, every system she had repaired in the Mustang had been tested in the harshest crucible. And yet, she realized that the final test wasn't the car's performance. It was her own courage, her ability to make decisions under pressure, and her willingness to act when lives hung in the balance. Donovan led her to a secure workstation. On the screens were live feeds from surveillance drones, showing the traitor and his cohort regrouping outside the facility. The black SUVs were lined up, engines idling, drones hovering above, waiting, calculating. The enemy had resources, training, and lethal intent. They were professionals, and they were coming for the Mustang. Emma swallowed hard. "What can I do?" she asked. Her voice was steady, but her hands betrayed her nerves. Donovan's expression softened slightly. "You already have the power to control this situation. You know the Mustang better than anyone. Its modifications, its systems. You can outmaneuver them even here. But you need to trust yourself and trust it." Emma took a deep breath and approached the Mustang. Its chrome gleamed under the dim facility lights, and she could almost feel it pulsing beneath her hands. This was more than a machine now. It was a partner, a protector, a lifeline. Every repair she had made, every wire traced, every bolt tightened, was a tool she could wield in the moments to come. Donovan turned back to the screens. "They're making their move. I can delay them, but only for a few minutes. Emma, it's up to you." Emma nodded. She slid into the driver's seat, the familiar feel of the Mustang beneath her bringing a strange sense of calm. Her fingers traced the controls she had repaired, systems she had restored to perfection. She activated the hidden defensive measures: reinforced suspension, turbo boost, electromagnetic shielding, and adaptive tracking overrides. Every feature hummed to life, responding instantly, like the car knew the gravity of the moment. Outside, the black SUVs surged forward. The traitor's voice crackled through a radio, confident, taunting. "You can't hide. The Mustang is ours. Hand it over or face the consequences." Emma's jaw tightened. She had repaired this car, safeguarded its secrets, and survived attempts on her life to this point. Now she would prove that she was not just a mechanic. She was a guardian, a driver, a force to be reckoned with. The pursuit began again, but this time the battlefield was the facility itself. Emma maneuvered the Mustang with precision, weaving through the reinforced garage, using the environment to her advantage. Barriers rose automatically, traps deployed, sensors activated. The traitor's SUVs collided with unexpected obstacles, forced to slow, giving her crucial seconds. Donovan coordinated from the workstation, guiding Emma with calm, precise instructions. Left now, activate the EMP pulse. Quick, Emma. She slammed the button. A low hum filled the facility, drones flickering and dropping from the sky. The SUVs hesitated, electronics scrambling. Emma seized the moment, turbo boost engaged, tires gripping the wet floor as she propelled the Mustang through a narrow exit, leaving the enemy momentarily stunned. But the traitor was relentless. He anticipated her moves, using satellite and drone feeds to predict her trajectory. Emma felt the weight of the pursuit pressing down on her, every second a potential disaster. The Mustang groaned under the strain, but it held. Then a flash, an opening in the perimeter wall, a narrow alley illuminated by the early morning sun. Emma saw it, a path to freedom, but only if she took a risk. She glanced at Donovan. "I can make it," she said, "but I have to go fast." Donovan nodded, eyes fierce with trust. "Do it. I'll cover you. Go." Emma's hands gripped the wheel, adrenaline surging. She pressed the Mustang forward, tires screeching, engine roaring, turbo engaged. The alley was narrow, debris scattered, but the car responded perfectly to every command. She swerved past obstacles, leapt a small barrier, and felt a surge of triumph as the Mustang cleared the exit. Behind her, the traitor's last attempt faltered. His SUV clipped the edge of the wall, spinning out of control. The remaining drones were disabled by the Mustang's countermeasures. Emma allowed herself a brief, exhilarated exhale. She had survived, outmaneuvered, and protected the Mustang. Once clear of immediate danger, she slowed, heart still racing. Donovan exhaled beside her. "You did it, Emma. You protected the vehicle, the intelligence, and yourself. You've proven that skill, courage, and quick thinking can survive even the most impossible situations." Emma's hands shook, relief washing over her in waves. She realized that the night's chaos, the chase, the betrayals, and the life-or-death stakes had transformed her. She was no longer just a mechanic. She was a guardian, a driver, a key participant in a mission that had stretched far beyond her understanding. Donovan looked at her seriously. "The Mustang and its secrets are safe for now, but this is just the beginning. There are still threats we can't predict, intelligence we can't fully secure, and enemies who may never give up. Your life has changed, Emma, forever." Emma nodded slowly. She understood. The ordinary world she had known, the quiet days of repairing cars, the predictable life of a mechanic, was gone. In its place was a life of uncertainty, danger, and extraordinary responsibility. But for the first time, she felt a surge of confidence. She had faced betrayal, survived pursuit, and outmaneuvered enemies far more experienced than herself. She had trusted her instincts, her skills, and the Mustang she had repaired. And she had won. Outside, the sun began to rise over the Dallas skyline, casting long shadows across the wet streets. The storm had passed, but the night's trials had left an indelible mark. Emma stepped out of the Mustang, breathing in the crisp morning air, feeling the weight of what she had accomplished, and the knowledge that her life would never be the same. Donovan approached, offering a rare, genuine smile. "You've earned your place in this mission, Emma, not just as a mechanic, but as someone we can rely on in impossible circumstances. You've changed the course of events tonight, and the Army and the Mustang will never forget it." Emma looked at the car one last time, its chrome glinting in the early light, hum of its engine soft but alive. She had repaired it without knowing its true significance. She had faced threats she couldn't have imagined, and now she had safeguarded something far beyond herself. A quiet determination settled over her. Whatever came next, whoever tried to challenge her, the Mustang or the intelligence it carried, she would be ready. She had survived the night, mastered the chase, and confronted betrayal. She had become more than she ever thought possible. And as the city awoke around her, Emma Chen understood one ultimate truth. Sometimes, ordinary people are thrust into extraordinary circumstances, and it is courage, ingenuity, and sheer determination that define who survives. The Mustang's engine purred softly, a faithful companion, a lifeline, a silent guardian, and together they had outlasted the night. The storm had ended, but Emma knew that life, danger, and the mission were only beginning.